And I think that it's a very important, crucial part of self care, is to take a step back, to acknowledge when you're overwhelmed. You can't necessarily get rid of, the things that are on your plate that make it heavy all at once. Sometimes that's just not realistically possible. We got to handle our business, but we have to pay attention to our patterns. Why do I keep finding myself overwhelmed? Why is there so much on my plate all of the time? Personally, I know it's a lot because I procrastinate. Oh my God. I'm such a big procrastinator, and I could go down the rabbit hole of explaining what ways, that cause me to be a procrastinator, but just name one. That's me. And I had to acknowledge that and be mindful of that, because what being a procrastinator did, after so long of being a procrastinator and always rushing and always being in a huff and can't find anything and speeding, trying to get there on time and, whatever, come up with some excuse of why I'm late or whatever the hell. I had to realize that that was a pattern, and it caused me to get used to operating under pressure and in chaos. And so now I low-key thrive in that environment. Like, I'm almost most creative and get things done in a better way. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, because I don't think it's healthy, but I've learned to thrive, in
a congested environment.
Yes, holy shit. It look a mess to you, but I know exactly where everything is. Don't touch it. Yeah. I know I have this deadline I have to meet, but okay, I still have a week and a half. And now we're down to a week. Now we're down to eventually 4 days. And now it's 11:59 and I'm cramming, So I have to acknowledge that all of these things lead up to why I move the way I move. So I have to acknowledge how that affects my life, and that's a big part of the reason why I have so much shit on my plate, why I'm always juggling, why my plate is so heavy. So I had to take active steps in my own life to look at everything that was weighing my plate down. And what are the things that are duplicated that I can get rid of?
What do you mean by that?
Like, where do I see, things that I can consolidate? I've got just a bunch of shit, a bunch of papers everywhere. Well, these two things look the same, so I can pair them up and I can probably knock them out at the same time. You literally have to organize and compartmentalize each area of your life. You have to break shit down and see what is causing me to do what I'm doing, right?
And you can work smarter and not harder, right?
So now I can start to clean things up in my life and find easier ways, to cut down on time and to clear things off my plate. Or if it doesn't belong, if it's not serving me, get rid of it. If it's an organization that I'm showing up for, but it's not feeding me, it's draining me of my energy, and everyone there is getting what they need, but I still leave empty. Relationships that I'm in where I'm always showing up for them, but they don't ever show up for me, and it's really starting to bother me, but I don't say anything because, whatever freaking reason, it's not fulfilling me, and I have to be brave enough to let that fall to the wayside so I can lighten my load. A lot of times we are the reason our plate is so full.
One of my big bros always told me, man, you gotta put everything out in front of you and give each area its proper attention, right? You don't try to multitask and do 2 or 3 things at one time. Let me take a look at this one thing and then consolidate. Take a look at this next thing, then consolidate. This next thing, consolidate. Sometimes it's even getting rid of things in my home. That's actually what I'm doing right now. You acquire so many things over time, right? There's some things that even had value that I don't even need anymore. Like last week, I got rid of some stuff, man. I literally came up with $1,100 out of stuff that I just don't even need. Just stuff that I acquired. So it's just about like giving each area of your life its proper attention. There's a common theme that I'm hearing right now, and what it is being self-aware, right? How many of us out here are really self-aware enough to evaluate yourself? Do you know what them indicators are that where you need to stop a behavior, not change a behavior, but stop a behavior, and then you make room for new stuff? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
because
When you
even
get
those
rid of that old.
behaviors take up space on our plate. I mean, it's all about pinpointing the things that need to go.
Yeah.
Which was where I was going with that. Like there's
People, places, and
things,
things
there's
that need to go.
things that are in our life that take up space in our life that we hold on to for whatever reason, whether it's, comfortability or familiarity or fear of loneliness or losing or failure or whatever.
Or not having them hard conversations.
When you're trying to level up in your life, when you're trying to grow and you feel stagnated, you really have to take a look at what's on your plate and who the hell put it there. Because did I give you permission to put that on my plate, or did I just take that on because I felt like it was going to do what? You know what I'm saying? You have to be real with yourself about why you're showing up in people's lives and situations and connections. Why are you giving? Why? What is your why?
Yeah.
Because if it's taking up space in your life, you're finding yourself overwhelmed, you're looking at all these things on your plate. Let's evaluate what's making up the plate.
Yeah, don't let it be self-inflicted, you know what I'm saying?
Because 500 calories of candy is not going to make me full. It's going to fill me up like this, but I got them calories, though. Got all that baggage and shit, though. But if I eat 500 calories of vegetables, I'm going to be good and full and sated, and I'm going to be nourished, right?
That's a good one.
So are you eating a bunch of candy, or are you eating things that are good for you? Yeah. It's up to you. Do you want to be fat and slothful and slow and lazy and diabetic and all the things that come with eating a bunch of bullshit? What do you ingest through your mouth, through your eyes, through your ears, through your energetic sphere? What are you allowing into your space to feed you and fill you up, because you are what you eat?
Time to spring clean.
Yeah. The words we say, the words we use, even the words that we allow people to say to us. Let's talk about the importance of that, because how someone talks to you, and if you're listening, you're receiving that shit. That's entering you. So you know what I'm saying?
That's a good one, King.
How do you maintain and make sure that the people that are communicating to you are communicating right? And, and when it's not coming in right, what practices do you use to be still compassionate, but stop that shit? You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about words, Red.
I think people let me get my language together. That was real country.
Yeah.
Let me pull her on back.
Come on back and do what you're known for.
I believe.
Come on now.
I believe
words.
that folks tend to believe that I'm playing when I say I don't speak that over my life, because I just straight up say it. Like, don't project. I cut it down immediately. I don't care who it is. Don't laugh it off like you was playing, because no, you weren't. And if you were, I'm here to tell you, don't play with me like that. Yeah. I am ridiculously protective of my space, even what people are projecting onto me. And if you think it's a game or you want to keep it up, I just remove myself, point blank, period. But I wasn't always that way. I've gotten to a point in my healing journey, we all got to go back and heal the little girl or the little boy, like, heal your inner child. It really, really, truly is the key to moving on with your freaking life when you've been, hurt and carried stuff with you for so long. And that's just it. That's just it. No, you may not speak that over my life. Please don't project that onto me, because I do not receive that. I have crafted and cultivated my life with my mouth intentionally and very specifically, and you will not come over here casting your raggedy kitchen spells over my life.
Whammy mammy.
And hocus pocus head ass. No. And it's okay, and you don't have to be an asshole about it. I just tend to be a little quick-witted, faster with my mouth and my brain sometimes. No harm intended, but I meant what I said.
Period. Words.
Man.
How do you prevent that stuff from entering you? You know what I'm saying? Your space and your place.
I have to do similar things. Like, I do need to get better at it. And it's not how other people talk to me. It's actually how I speak myself. Is what I have to get better at. I have friends all the time. It's like, Jay, don't say that. Don't say that. You know, you're actually manifesting the things that you're saying.
Absolutely.
So sometimes I tend to talk negative because I might be in a negative space. You know, so I'm that's something I got to get better at. But Red hit it on the head, man. I'm not gonna allow people to conduct themselves anyway in my space. Especially when they are talking to me or talking at me and then trying to project things onto me. Like, nah, I'm not having that. Like, nah.
I want to give an example. For instance, I have a hard time taking compliments. It makes me uncomfortable when people, oh my gosh, you know, you're so pretty, or you look so, like, too much of that too quick or a lot at one time. I get angsty and anxious. Like, it makes me feel away. And I think a lot of that comes from,
I was going to ask that, where did it come from?
I think a lot of that comes from wanting to be seen here, or for other things that I do other than surface level shit, you know, and it just is very uncomfortable to always only be seen as what I look like. Which is why Red January tagline is I just look like this.